On this episode of Cuesta, my brother David and I talk about the NCAA finally allowing players to profit off their likeness, image, and name like they really had a choice. The World Series and the Nationals winning the all-deciding Game 7. Karl-Anthony Towns versus Joel Embiid, not only on the court, fist fighting, but also in social media. Josh Gordon being claimed by the Seahawks, and we're just scratching our heads on how. Willie Taggert fired by Florida State University before the end of the season, and Stephen Stasburg opting out of his deal with the Nationals with around $100 million left on the plate. So without any further ado, enjoy the show. What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to Cuesta Dos. I'm Alex Cuesta, as always, with my brother David Cuesta. What's up, Dave?
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
I think everyone's doing okay, David.
Yeah, you don't know that. They could be having a bad day.
And if you are, hopefully we will uplift you with this fantastic episode. Last one was a marathon. I promise we will not go that long. I won't.
Last one was a
rant.
makeup. It was a makeup because you decided not to be there one week.
And I also won't rant 93 times in this episode, so you guys are safe from that. Yeah. But let's just get right into it, Dave. Let's get the drum.
All right, so our first topic of the day is, I honestly believe, the biggest topic. Well, maybe second biggest, but one of my favorites. The NCAA is now they approved to allow players to profit off their name, likeness, and image. And I love it. I know a lot of people are speculating, is the NCAA games going to come back, which I would love. I know me and you both played a whole hell of a lot of them.
Trenton Tiny Turtles.
Exactly, and we would still play them if they came out now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a big win for a lot of players. I mean, I know a lot of people, they're very iffy on colleges paying students, but really this is students just being able to utilize their image, which I like a lot. Now, I know there's some cons to this because each state now has to make sure they approve of this as well. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the football programs and basketball programs. You never know where the kids might go if they can profit in one state and not in the other. But I'm sure everything's going to work out just fine. Everyone's going to be on board because they don't want to lose out. What do you think of this? What do you think of all this, brother?
What the hell was the NCAA supposed to do? I'm not giving them any credit. They apparently, when they came in, it was a unanimous vote. What were they going to do? California was doing it. New York was going to do a stupid version of it, but do it. What was it? North Carolina, South Carolina. It was a bunch of states. And they're all jumping on board at this point. I'm not giving the NCAA any kudos. They're trying to get ahead of this and make themselves seem like they did something right. They just wanted to get rid of the terrible PR that they've been getting, which is the only PR that they get. But overall, I'm actually happy with it. We've been preaching this since this show started, before even thought about doing this show. This is what I've been saying for such a long time, that the athletes should be able to do that, because then every single corner of the state of the United States will be able to get athletes paid. Just because they're not going to be making potentially millions in certain areas doesn't mean it's not going to really help these kids out. Some of these small schools where maybe the soccer team's the big news, or the baseball team, or over here at Marist, it was the women's basketball team. They're going to get their due. So it's going to really help out some of these kids, that, especially the ones that are coming here to try and better their family. It could help them out right away. So I really like this whole situation that's going on. I think, like you said, it could get iffy if some states are stupid. But now that the NCAA ratified it, I don't know if the states have an option anymore. I think the states might drop their bills, because I don't think this has any of that option there. The clearinghouse is going to have to be the thing that gets updated, the NCAA clearinghouse. But overall, I'm a big fan of this. I think they, screw the NCAA, but overall it went well. Apparently it was after they went in a meeting with the NFLPA, and the NFLPA said, we're on board, we'll help you out. So the moment it happened, they just all unanimously voted. But I'm all for it. I'm excited for NCAA football, March Madness. I think that might be one of the last things we get, because that's going to be a huge money maker for kids.
We might not, there's a possibility that we might not even get games, because that's a lot that needs to go into it in order to get everyone on there. Because, how many of the players are you really going to use their real names for? Because you're probably going to have to use all of them. It's a lot that has to go on. I know the NFLPA is with them with this, but that's a lot they need to do. Whoever is making the games, whether it's 2K, where it's EA, they have things that they need to flesh out with that. So it's going to be a while if they're thinking about making a game. At least I think so. Hey, you never know. They could be quick about this. But I mean, my thing that I like the most about this is when it comes down to it, I didn't really see this as this whole sport. Like, it's not like really a sports thing to me. It's not like an NCAA thing to me. It's like, it's an American thing to me. Like, it's an American value that you are able to make money using yourself, using your own brand, using marketing yourself. That's how a lot of people, like, if I make a small business, you're basically marketing yourself as the business when you start off. So, like, this is what people are supposed to be allowed to do. So it only makes sense that these kids that are going into their sports, going into these careers, should be able to should be able to market themselves in any way they want to and make money off their likeness. Because I mean, even in like a D3 school, like you never know which one, but in a small area, that town may love that D3 school, and sure, they're not much to the national stage, but you never know what they could sell to anyone in that town that just wants an autograph because they're breaking records in that school.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe like Kyle, the third string guard, might not be able to make money off of what he's doing. But unfortunately, he just needs to work at it. Maybe he will. You never know. But there's things that go right and go wrong for you when you try to market yourself. And I feel like that's the best thing, is to give people the opportunity to do it.
Without a doubt. And it's going to give kids a reason to work harder. Like you said, the third string kid, it might get a little bitter for some kids that were big names coming in, big time recruits that initially get money and then they flounder out because they're not as good as they thought they were. That's going to be a hard reality for kids to learn quickly. But like you said, it is America. It's life. It's going to teach kids more about failing and succeeding. And also, there's some idiot congressman, senator, I don't know which one, I don't know where he's from either, saying, we should now tax this.
Tax your scholarships.
And not even that. And it's a Republican, too. And it's saying we should create a new tax. You're not a Republican, sir. No new taxes. Don't be Bush with Bush the first. No new taxes, then tax everyone. Don't do that. So that's so stupid. Don't tax. No new taxes.
It's just like, go away, man. And this is what bothers me about it.
Go away, man.
Go away. Like, why are you trying to impede on someone making money off of their likeness? That is something that we just not supposed to do, because we like being able to make money off of what we create and what we believe is going to make other people want to watch or use the things that you do or that you create. Like, I don't know, man. It's bothersome.
They're not going to get taxed. That senator, congressman's an idiot. But
yeah,
we're going to move on to the World Series, and there has been a champion crowned, and it is not the girls that flash Garrett Cole, even though they should be wearing a crown, because they are still the most exciting part of the World Series. But
I don't know. That Game 7 was pretty cool.
Game 7 was cool. Congrats to the Washington Nationals for getting your first ever championship. And immediately when you discard Bryce Harper, you find a way to be a championship team, which I'm not putting that on Bryce. Bryce is a fantastic player. He gets more flack than he deserves. But congrats to the Nats, and history was made. Because this is the first time in Major League history that the away team won every single game. They went to a Game 7, and the away team won. Washington celebrated 4 times away, not on their own turf.
Yep.
And it was beautiful to see the Astros fans not be happy.
Hey, man, you can't hate on the Astros fans, man. Listen. I'm certain they're good fans. You can hate on the Astros team as much as you want. I don't care about that.
I can hate on whatever I want, David.
That's true. But I mean, the most exciting thing about this, instead of like, just the Nationals' first championship, is that it's the never say die attitude. It's just something that we all love in sports, like the underdog.
I thought you were going to say Julia Rose and Lauren Summer.
Listen, you're going to have to get over that at one point, my man.
Oh, that's the new mascot. Don't worry about it.
Nah, but it's a never say die attitude. It's something that we love in sports. We love the underdog. We love these stories. Like, and just watching it happen through 7 full games where no home team won is amazing to watch. Especially they were down 2-0, and Howie Kendrick, Rendon pops a solo, then Howie Kendrick pops a two-run homer, and I honestly love their celebration when he came into the dugout and they did a clutch celebration. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But and it just never stopped. The Astros had literally no answer from that momentum that the Nationals gained. They could not bring themselves to come up against this tide that the Nationals became at the end of that game.
And I just love the fact that the Nationals winning, it kind of defies the current logic going on in baseball where it's all about the long ball. And the Nationals really didn't hit the long ball very much in this whole playoffs. They hit it when they needed it, but they manufactured runs. And it was just cool to see, there are certain teams that buck the trend when it comes to this. Nationals did it. The Royals did it a few years back where it's not about the long ball. It's about timely hitting. It's about manufacturing runs. And it's about great pitching. Stephen Strasburg finally living up to his number one pick pedigree, where he was the guy when the Nationals were an expansion team. It was Strasburg's team, and he finally has produced, and it's great to see. And we're going to talk more about Strasburg later, but overall, it was awesome to see. And congrats to the Nationals. You're going to deserve the parade. And now Washington, the whole entire area of Maryland, Washington can have no more championships for a little while.
Congrats, man. It was a great fight. And another maybe great fight. It depends on how you see it is one we're going to talk about next. Karl-Anthony Towns versus Joel Embiid. If you don't have to watch the game to know that this happened. It was highlighted all over ESPN and wherever you're going to see these things on Twitter, Insta. You saw it if you follow basketball at all. But Karl-Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid got into a scuffle during the game. There's one picture that shows the scuffle perfectly where Karl-Anthony Towns' right pointer finger is literally like clipping Joel Embiid's arm. And they're both they're both in disgust, like something like they actually got hit. It's amazing to watch because the scuffle was okay. The best part was Ben Simmons putting Karl-Anthony Towns in a Cobra clutch. That's fantastic. I don't know how he got no suspension from it, but Kat and Joel Embiid both got a 2-game suspension. And Stephen A. Smith, I follow him. I like some of his takes. He's not bad. I know some people might hate him, but I don't think he's bad. I think he had a very good reaction to this. He's like, we might not want to see fights too much on the basketball court, but like the not friendly attitude, like don't be friends with your opponent on the basketball court. This competitiveness, this want to beat this person on the court, not want to go up and just hug them after every play. Like the Russell Westbrook attitude that we've seen his entire career, that makes the sport more fun. That makes it much more competitive, and it makes everything much more entertaining to see on the court.
I couldn't agree more. With the attitude and with, it's nice to see, especially 2 of the younger stars in the NBA kind of creating this rivalry. It's good. But I want to get first off, this is no Rondo versus CP3 from last year.
Oh,
that was real punches thrown. That was a legitimate fight. Yes, that was good. This, Karl-Anthony Towns missed an open palm bitch slap that he was attempting to get on Embiid, and then he just threw him in a headlock. And Ben Simmons... it's great because
it was a Cobra clutch.
He threw him in a Cobra clutch, and all it took was Karl-Anthony Towns going, get off, and then he got off. And then afterwards, as he's walking back, Embiid's doing his little showmanship, and he's going, I got you, bro. What did you have? You dove on top of a dude that was trying to headlock another dude and successfully headlocked that dude. So I don't know if that's how it's done in Australia, Ben Simmons, but... normally you don't just throw the other guy in a headlock. You kind of hit him.
Yeah, at least he's backing up his teammate, though. You got to give him that.
I guess. Karl-Anthony Towns had him in a headlock, but there was no intent of either of them to fight. Can we be honest?
Not really
fight. No, because he had him in the headlock. Karl-Anthony Towns had him dead to rights. He could have been clobbering the top of his head. Mm-hmm. And B didn't swing even after the attempted bitch slap. There was no actual intent to fight, and then it traveled to social media where everyone wants to fight.
Yeah, well, that is where Joel Embiid is usually king on social media. Joel Embiid is the biggest troll in the NBA, and whether you love it or hate it, he's the best at it. In fact, I think that this fight was definitely part of that. I mean, I know he said, I think he said in his post something about, I was raised by lions. Obviously a joke about him being cat, haha. But, like, it just went back and forth about that. Basically calling each other, just wusses and everything like that. And it was, it was a social media spat. It was kind of fun to watch and read, but it's whatever.
Yeah, they meet again March 24th. And I guarantee, I'm putting money down that before the game, they are going to make a point to give each other a nice bro hug. Just to let everyone know, and the kids that are watching, that we're role models. And then the game's going to happen, and one's going to do something the other one doesn't like, and they're going to shove each other again. It's going to be cute.
I don't think it's going to be a bro hug, my dude.
I think it's going to be a bro hug. I think that they are going to sit there, and the difference between this generation of athlete, even the Russell Westbrook style and stuff like that, is they get what they do really emulates further than just the court.
Yeah,
they understand
goes
that
to the kids that watch. Yeah,
yes, and it is
no doubt,
and it is very kid friendly. The NBA, and there is a lot of high school, middle school kids that watch this. And yes, the scuffle happened, but I think that they are going to, and I think their coaches, their PR, I think everyone is going to let them know it happened. Whatever. If the heat of the game happens again, that's fine. But before the game, you show them how to be bigger people. I think that's going to occur, and they're going to try and make a sign like it was just the game. It was afterwards. It was frustration. Now let's do something. Oh, quickly, I want to mention something I heard this morning. I listen to the WFAN usually on the morning on my ride in. Okay. And they were talking about Twitter and about athletes using Twitter. And Jerry Recco, it was the morning show right before Gio and Boomer. It was Jerry Recco and Al Dukes. And Jerry Recco said something like, if he had, in a contract, I would say no social media use, period. And Al Dukes brought up a good idea. He's like, maybe not no social media use, but maybe the day after a game for football players, you're not allowed to use it the day after a game. A 24-hour session to cool off. And then...
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. The reason why I don't like that is because you're not treating them like adults. If they can't be adults, that's a sign on your football team. That's the purpose. Like, you need to be able to see that and correct it. So, I mean, yeah, it sounds
but
cool.
Most of them are pampered athletes. Are they really adults? A lot of
that's nice.
Adults.
Yeah, but that's nice. So you find out which ones are the most pampered ones, and maybe they're not showing out, and they do that, and then you say, hey, you're sitting or you're cut. It's that simple. So, it's nice. Oh, yeah, you can put it in a contract, make sure they don't get in trouble. No, let them get in trouble. Let them have consequences for their actions.
I guess we've seen a lot of, and I guess you're right, because a lot of times where the babysitting is included in the contract is where the guys screw up the most, a la like a T.O., Ocho Cinco.
There's no reason to babysit them. No, they're supposed to be adults. Let them try to be adults.
And David, are you going to tell us about a guy who's been trying to be adult in the NFL lately and kind of got screwed?
You know what? I feel like he was on track, and I don't know what happened within the Patriots organization. It might have been Josh Gordon's fault. It might have been the Patriots. It might have just been an actual injury. I have no idea. But that was weird.
And I have a quick take on this. Once you let everyone know where he went, can I interject and give a quick take? Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So he was picked up on waiver from the Seahawks, 27th. So that means 26 other teams passed him. I believe it was 27th he got picked up.
I think 27th or 28th, but that's just schematics.
Yeah, 27 teams passed on him. That's all you need to know. Over 20 teams passed on Josh Gordon. What do you want to intrude with?
So you talked about how it looked like he was going on the right path, right? On the Patriots, that's usually the team for redemption, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
He goes over now to an organization in the Seahawks, which has been known lately as the most free team. Pete Carroll lets them do kind of whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and they're a pretty damn good team.
They're a good team, but for a guy that's had his type of issues with the microscope that the NFL has on his actions, I don't know if that's the best setting for him in Seattle with Pete Carroll, who's not going to keep him on a tighter leash. I
mean, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. They like the added depth at wide receiver. Obviously, he can be a very good wide receiver. So we'll see how it works out. I hope it works out for him because he's a great talent, and he should control himself enough to use that talent, especially Russell Wilson throwing to him, who is the MVP of this season so far. I will 100% say that to anyone that has
Him,
has
Christian McCaffrey, and Dalvin Cook should be the top three right now.
Deshaun Watson's up there too. He's playing out of his mind.
Yes, Deshaun Watson's playing very well, but I feel like he's had enough stumbles. This is kind of like a Heisman race right now.
Yeah.
I think this is more that all four of those guys are playing so well that it's Heisman race style where a stumble can take you out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but getting a little off track about Josh Gordon here. So apparently Russell Wilson actually pushed for AB before they grabbed Josh Gordon, which is one of the most interesting things I've ever heard, because AB almost had a chance to be back in the NFL this year already.
Now, one thing that tells me Russell Wilson is significantly not as polished of a human being as he makes it out perceived to be if he wanted Antonio Brown. That tells me that he has a little dog in him and would be willing to step up into AB's face and say, my team, my way, or I will get you cut.
Oh, you can see that, man. Dude, his size, he would not be able to take control of that team if he didn't do that. Like, you could, like, listen, I was a hater of Russell Wilson before. I will admit that.
I respect him, but I still am.
I'm not a hater of him anymore. He has proved himself more than enough to me.
I can't like you anymore.
Well, that's fine. You didn't like me in the first place, but he's proved himself more than enough.
This is forcible on me here that you're existing. but
he had to have had that in order to control this offense the way he does.
All right, but let's go on to the main question. Antonio Brown being there or not, whatever. Good for Antonio Brown for still getting looks, but our mascots faded away. We have new ones now. They're better and they're hotter. But main question is, how, David? How? How do you... I get it, Josh Gordon has baggage. But his talent is all worldly still. He's made some grabs for Tom Brady that have just been great. All of his touchdowns have been great catches. How does everyone else pass on this talent? I don't understand that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing maybe some depth problems and maybe worrying about the off-field issues. Maybe... I don't know. I feel like if I were a team, I might pick them up. Like if I were like the Dolphins or the Jets or the Bengals or something, I wouldn't pick them up because there'd be no purpose to it at all. You would just pick him up because, he's good, but he's going to be good on a bad team. So it doesn't matter. So I understand,
like 49ers or something. I don't know where their number is.
The 49ers, you didn't need to get them because you got Emmanuel Sanders. That's the thing. Like,
Gordon's better than Emmanuel Sanders.
Gordon's better than Emmanuel Sanders, but you already picked up Emmanuel Sanders. You didn't know Josh Gordon was coming off, obviously. Otherwise, you would have waited for him. So you picked up Emmanuel Sanders, and he's been playing well for the Niners. He opens up a lot of the field for Jimmy G.
Yes, he does.
So he's been a great fit for the 49ers. So you already picked up your guy that you needed to open up the field. So you don't entirely need a Josh Gordon. What's the purpose of taking the risk on him if you don't really need him? You feel like you're already doing very well. You're the last unbeaten team now. So, I mean, there are teams I feel like that could have picked him up. That might have some issues at wide receiver. I don't know. Maybe the Eagles. I don't know. Maybe it's tough. You never know what entirely is going on internally. Obviously, I still feel like he should have been picked before 27th, 28th.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I feel like the Seahawks grabbed a good pick for them, and that definitely makes them, if Josh Gordon can stay on the field and produce like he does, it makes them a very scary playoff threat.
They are extremely scary, and that now deepens the West, which is, a very NFC, not West. Deepens the NFC, which is already pretty deep, and it's just getting better. But with, Josh Gordon is now in, we're going to talk about, normally I don't get a chance to be happy on the show. David, I'm happy. I am happy. And I feel bad for being happy about this because I never am happy about a guy getting fired.
Wait, but you're only happy because you're not talking about the Jets this week.
You shut your mouth. But Willie Taggert, former coach of the Florida State University Seminoles, is fired. The AD came out and said, 6-6 is not good enough. I agree. And that firing him at the end of the season as opposed to now serves no advantage or disadvantage. I also agree. This should have been done after week 2. This should have been done a lot sooner. It was apparent that Willie Taggert had no grasp for this football team. He misused them all last year and all this year. His offense, which was supposed to be his bread and butter, never took hold. He had one of the better running backs in the nation in Cam Akers, which he started to use this year, but still hasn't used enough. He's not recruiting top 5-star talent, which is blasphemy for Florida State. You had, for going from Bowden to Fisher, even if some of Fisher's guys leave, that is still a premier. That is a team that competed with Clemson, Bama, Notre Dame, Ohio State's regularly. They won the last championship before the playoff. That's not that long ago.
It's a fall that no one expected. No one. It should never happen to a team that was up so high.
That is a white collar team. That is one of your top teams in the nation. Mm-hmm. And it definitely took. Listen, it took a hit when Jimbo decided to leave because he prized Texas A&M's job more than Florida State, which he was groomed and passed on to him. That definitely hurt the prestige of the school because they were looked at now as a second-tier team to Texas A&M. Are you serious? And I'm really happy he's struggling at Texas A&M because screw you, Jimbo Fisher. But Taggert being out now makes a void, and that void can be filled by one Urban Meyer. I really think they're going to go hard after Urban Meyer. And I think that he's going to bite.
I mean, I can see it happening. I can definitely see it happening, especially because at this point, FSU, you're kind of desperate, man. That's a fall that no school should take. No school should take that fall unless you were
without the death penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you got the death penalty. So that shouldn't happen to you, and it happened. Like you were supposed to be one of the best teams in the country most of the time, at least top 25, probably top 10.
And a few falls every once in a while with when we had Ponder and Manuel, we weren't great, but we still weren't a laughing stock. Right now, we're one of the worst big team, Power 5 teams in the nation.
Easily. Any team can beat FSU, it seems like.
And it's just embarrassing. And our cousin Danny went to Florida State, and that's where my fandom, and I think I kind of rolled off on you. I don't know if you're necessarily a fan, but you follow them because...
Yeah, I follow a bunch of college football teams. As much as I can.
It's just, and I was texting with one of my buddies I used to work with. He texted me with the article, and he's like, "It happened!" One of the guys I used to work with, and he's excited, and I'm excited, and it's sad. And again, Willie Taggert, no negative wishes on you. I'd never want anyone to get fired, but he would probably say he didn't do the job. I think certain guys can look at themselves in the face and say, I was in over my head here. I couldn't do it. I hope he goes, I hope he can get a redemption job and can build himself back up. Probably a nice guy. Just not a nice enough guy for Florida State.
Yeah, no, and this is why this makes, like I said, FSU is now desperate enough to go after Urban Meyer. Because Urban Meyer has a bit of a stain on his legacy. And I think it would be beneficial to both FSU and Urban Meyer if he came in, fixed the program up, maybe immediately. And then FSU is a top football team again. And
I think it's been long enough. I think it's been long enough since Urban's been out of the spotlight.
Yeah, it's never come back long enough.
I think it's been long enough, and I think the recruiting value alone is worth going after and trying. Because he's going to get the 5 stars again. The moment his name comes out there and he hits a trail again,
100%. People are going to want to play for him. Yeah.
And fun fact, I guarantee I'll be a fan of Chris Ash again. I guarantee if Urban Meyer, he will bring Chris Ash onto his staff because Chris Ash isn't getting hired anywhere.
No.
Speaking of Chris Ash, former coach of Rutgers met with Greg Schiano about the head coaching position. David, are you excited?
It's going to happen again. It's going to happen.
Now, again, this is another guy that comes with baggage. He was, Tennessee? That he was all ready to get the job, and protesters stopped him.
Yeah.
They made him. Yeah. Will Rutgers fall to the same pressure? Will there be protesters? Because he's still, I don't think the jury's out. I think it was shown that he really, either he had very loose knowledge, rumorous knowledge of Sandusky, or he didn't know at all. But people tend to believe what they want to believe. So will that follow him to Rutgers?
The question here again is just like with FSU, is Rutgers desperate enough? If they are, they won't care about those protesters unless they're actually hurting something that Rutgers really believes that they need to maintain. Otherwise, I can see it happening.
It better happen. There is no one else that's going to take the job. I know our buddy Kyle Doctor, who writes for the blog, the Sports Opinions Podcast blog, my only writer, because I don't do anything. but he's constantly talking about the Princeton coach because the Princeton coach has an awesome track record right now. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. He deserves more respect than that, but he has a great track record. Princeton was the worst Ivy League team for the last 10 years before he got there. And he's turned this team around, Ivy League champion, and has just been kicking the crap out of the Ivy League. But I'm sorry, the Ivy League as compared to Greg Schiano, who was a Big Ten coach, then led Rutgers, and then back in the Big Ten, he has the pedigree to come, and his name will ring throughout New Jersey again, New York, and that pipeline, and he will get guys again. Let's not forget Taekwon Underwood, Kenny Britt, Ray Rice.
Yep.
Even he was what Savage, I forget his name, but he recruited Savage, who went on to play in Pittsburgh and then went to the NFL. So he has pedigree and the McCourty twins, Logan Ryan. I can go on and on about the guys.
The Patriots. The Patriots just pick up everyone for Rutgers.
The Pat Riots, yes. Belichick will be the happiest guy. He won't retire if Greg Schiano goes back ever. Yeah. Because he just literally calls Greg and goes, "Oh, so who's leaving your defense now? Okay, cool."
Yeah, exactly.
It's and that just goes, but that's a compliment to him.
No, yeah, 100%.
About just how good of a coach he is and how good he is at recruiting. So I'm hoping Schiano goes to Rutgers again. I'm hoping Urban Meyer goes to Florida State, and I'm hoping the protesters stay away from both because they could screw both of my pipe dreams.
That's 100% not happening. But maybe both colleges will just tell them to shove off.
I would love that. That would be ideal for me. Now, someone who potentially told the Nationals to shove off, the very Nationals that just won a championship, Stephen Stasburg opts out of his deal, and I think he left $100 million on the table. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Whether he did,
he left a good amount.
Whether he did that to restructure with the Nats, which I don't think you leave $100 million on the table with the team when you're not necessarily young anymore. And I don't know if they're going to pay you more than that, unless he's doing a friendly deal to them and they're talking about signing him for less. I don't know if that happens. There's very few guys in sports that do that. He would be one of the legends if he did that. He would enter into the Duncan Brady type of person. I don't know if that's him. My hope is that he ends up with the Yankees. Obviously, we need another pitcher.
Sound like a Knicks fan.
Oh my God! But listen, at least the Yankees actually have the money to do it and still have the clout to do it. They're in the contention. They were right there.
Yeah.
But there's also the other players. There's the Dodgers. There's the Rangers. Always have money. They're terrible, but they always have money to throw at people. And then there was the rumor that he could go to Anaheim and play with the Angels.
Yeah.
Where do you see most likely that Strasburg ends up?
Okay, so the offseason is heating up just like it's heating up in the room I'm recording in. And I'm sweating just like Strasburg might be with the decision he has to make. I'm not sure where he's going to end up. I'm not going to lie to you. I have been following this as close as probably I should have, maybe mainly because I don't think he's going to end up on the Yankees. Not going to lie to you, unfortunately. But it's tough, man. I don't think you can really read the mind of a guy that just won the World Series MVP for a team and then leave him and then opt out, at least. Opt out. Not leave him entirely, but opt out. So I don't think you can read his mind and where he's going to go. It may be the Dodgers. He may like L.A. It's a big market, huge market. Not like Washington, small, but L.A.'s L.A. So, and then if you want the big market, maybe it might be New York, but like I said, you can't read the mind of a guy that just opted out of a huge deal where he just won the World Series MVP for. So,
is there any chance that he follows Bryce and goes over to the Phillies?
No, no way. There is no way. Actually, it'd be hilarious if it happened. That would be knee-slappingly funny. But no, that it won't happen. Also, I'm going to throw this in here.
Go ahead.
I know this wasn't on the itinerary.
Go ahead. Go Rogue.
That doesn't matter. I don't care about your itinerary. Just throw this in here. I heard a rumor today. Now, this is because I listen to radio a bunch, and this rumor probably has no basis at all. But I heard a rumor today about the speculation that Tom Brady may actually end up on the LA Chargers next year. I don't believe it, but apparently, since the whole, he's put his house up, trainer put their house up. Apparently I think the trainer has somewhere in LA that he stays at or something like that. So it's weird, rumors, how they get, especially Tom Brady. But I mean, if that were to happen, that would be absolutely insane, seeing as, Phillip Rivers might retire and everything, so it would open the door for Tom Brady. But like I said in the podcast last week, I still see no way in hell it happens, but I just wanted to throw that in there because it's an interesting rumor that I think should be squashed immediately.
Well, if Phillip does end up retiring, that is the perfect guy to take the reins because that team is a good football team.
Yeah.
So they have all the makings. And also, if he wants to play till he's like 730, like he wants to, the heat of LA and the perfect weather is the right place to do it.
Exactly.
So, and also we talked about how LA always plays an away game when they're there. You bring Tom Brady there.
Oh, it'll be actual home games. The
bandwagon fans will be there. I used the term, David. I used it, but that would be true for them. That would be absolutely. Actually, I don't know if they'd even come out. The taxes in California.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't even imagine how much they tax a ticket. Ticket would be like $5, and it'd be like 93.
Yeah, exactly.
Taxes, and then not even a service charge. That would be on top of it, the service charge.
Yeah, and it does get extremely hot in LA, just like how hot it is in this room right now.
And with David melting like a snowman over there, we are going to end this episode of Cuesta Dos. David, anything you want to say about the temperature in your room right now?
Help me just come turn the AC on, please. Someone.
So again, I'm Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @Cuesta30. Find David on Twitter at dcuesta308, Instagram Cuesta Cola. And is it Cuesta Cola or Cuestanthemo? I never can remember.
You're asking me, man. You're the one giving my tags.
one or the others. Don't go.
Pretty sure it's Cuesta Cola. I'm pretty sure it's Cuesta Cola.
Oh, Jesus Christmas. That just tells you not to go look at it on Instagram. But again, you can find Sports Opinions on Twitter at Sports Opinion 30, Instagram Sports Opinions 30. Visit the Facebook page by searching Sports Opinions Podcast. And wherever you're listening to this, make sure you give a rating and review. 5 stars, hopefully, and a good review. If you don't like it, just don't do it. Turn it off. But if you do, give all that and tell people to listen to us because we're better than the radio. Bottom line, we don't say the same stuff that everyone else says.
At least I'd like to think we're better than the radio.
We better be better than the radio, otherwise we're wasting our time.
Wasting time in a hot room. Ridiculous.
So once again, everyone, this was Cuesta Dos. Have a good one, everybody.